huntress, fisherman, forager, advocate, now a mom. Sit back, get ready to enjoy a great conversation with Jenn McDonald, who, through all these things, has one goal in mind: being self-sufficient. Are you ready? Episode 11 of the Fit to Hunt podcast, powered by Wilderness Athlete, starts now. You really like mushrooms.
I do.
I need to know this. You post a lot about mushrooms, Jenn. Talk me through this.
Yeah. The posting.
Yes.
I just think they look fascinating. And then the ones that are actually edible are even cooler because you can add them to your meals.
Right.
But it's just the actual look of them altogether.
So, like, what's that joke? Did you know that there's mushrooms that you only eat once? Right? That one right there, where you pick the wrong one, you're only going to eat it one time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You ever watch that show Outdoor Boys? That YouTube channel?
All the time.
Well, there was one episode. Okay, so there's one episode specifically, I bet you've seen this, where he goes, I am 75% that's an edible mushroom. And he looks at it for like 4 seconds and he goes, but I'm not 100%. And he keeps on walking. Is that, kind of one of those?
100%. I can be like, I'm 95% sure this is edible, but I don't know, so I'm going to leave it.
So what kind of mushrooms can you eat up there? I mean, we got morels down here. Do you have those in Canada?
We do have morels. We only get those in the spring. Okay. I know some places, I think in the States, get them like spring and fall. Mm-hmm. So we've got morels, we've got chicken out of the woods, we have giant puffballs, we have velvet shank mushrooms, which come out in the wintertime. So I'm finding those right now while I'm out hunting deer. Chanterelles, so many. We've got a lot of mushrooms here. I'm pretty sure a lot of what you guys would have.
Chicken of the woods, chanterelles, which I know what they are. I've just not been brave enough to actually do it because I'm in the same boat. I know what a morel is, and I know how to tell the false morels from the real ones. I feel confident there.
Yeah.
The other ones I need someone like you to come down and say, you will eat this and you're going to be fine. If I could get someone to do that for me, I think we'd be more confident anyhow in that sense.
What I've started doing is like looking for what their toxic lookalike would be. If I see a mushroom, like with the velvet shank mushroom, I was like, I think this is what it is, but I'm not sure. So I tried to look to see what their toxic lookalike would be, and I did find one called the funeral bell. Right. So obviously, like, what a name. But you can do a spore print where the edible one, the velvet shank mushroom, leaves a white spore print, and the funeral bell, the toxic one, which is like very deadly actually, leaves a copper colored spore print. So there's just like so many ways once you really get into it to determine what you're eating.
I still go back to whatever you want to call it, the indigenous person, the Indian, the Native American, whatever. Somebody figured that out at some point that's bad, right?
I know.
Don't do that again.
Like who?
Yeah.
They obviously told someone before they passed.
Hey, I don't feel so good, right? All right. So I had to write these things down because, by golly, you do a lot of things. So I'm going to name them off here. Canadian Sports Arms and Ammunition Association. That's a big one. Why We Hunt platform. So that's your website and your blog. You host the Wild Cookhouse and Fishing the Wild West TV show. Are those YouTube? Those are YouTube, right? Or are those
Fishing the Wild
shows?
West TV show is on Wild TV, Sportsman's Channel, all of the channels. I don't host the actual show. I just host the Wild Cookhouse portion.
Gotcha. Okay. So is that where that's housed in? That's same one thing?
Yeah, exactly.
One.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
It's like a segment.
Enough. That's still pretty awesome. And now we have this thing called Mom that you've thrown into here, right? How's she doing, by the way?
She's doing awesome. She's hanging out with my husband right now, and she's the first one we've had, so I'm not sure what to compare her to, but I think she's really good.
That's kind of how we were too, right? And by the way, everything was great in the hospital, and then we brought him home, and he screamed for 3 days straight. So I don't know what they do in the hospital, and they did, but that was the experience that we had. I called my mom, and she just laughed at me and hung the phone up.
She's just like, good luck. I feel
What
like
she
they're so,
said,
like, in
right?
shock in the first few days that they're just, like, super quiet, and then after that, they're like, "Okay, what the hell's happening?"
What's going on? Yeah. So let's start with like the easy part of this. And maybe it's not the easy part, but it's the thing that I always like to try and tie together is you balance a lot of things right now. So how are you as a new mom with all of these irons in the fire? How are you how are you staying either balanced or how are you managing these things well?
I have no idea. I'm, like, in the thick of it now, so, yeah, I don't know at the moment. I just kinda take it day by day. It's super busy at work, so my main job is CSAAA, the Canadian Sporting Arms and Ammunition Association. And we're
Hmm.
hosting an event in BC, which is the other side of the country for me, next month. So super busy putting that together, and we're still doing a lot of lobbying with the government against some firearms regulations. So everything's been busy there, and I try and like work between her nap schedules. So I'll be like holding her so she naps a little bit longer, so I can make a couple more calls. And then it's hunting season right now, deer season. So
Right.
also trying to sneak out a little bit for that at least, but yeah, I don't know. I just kinda take it day by day and get as much done in a day as I can, and, if I can't get something done, I keep lists like crazy just to make sure that I get everything done, and if I don't
Right.
get something done, it'll get done the next day or someday.
Sure. Well, I noticed you made a post the other day about, and I guess you were hunting in the morning, and you made a comment about how, the little one was hungry, needed to eat, and that you got out a little later, and it's still deer hunting. It's just a little different deer hunting than what maybe you did a year ago.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I can't necessarily always be out, like, an hour before sunrise or something
Hmm.
like that, or I have to go in later, come in sooner. But yeah, it's just, it's only for a couple of years and it'll be fine.
Right.
1 year at the most.
Now, don't wish time away, but like right now, so my boys are 19 and 16.
Okay.
And when we go to the farm, now it's, be safe, good luck. Let me know if you get something, I'll come. Right. So, I mean, but
Yeah,
that was the neatest thing is having them with us the whole way through. So I'm sure she will be just as big of an outdoor nut as you are. And
I
that's
hope
fun.
so.
And by the way, people ask me all the time, how do the boys get like that? And I said, I just took them with me. I never once said you
Awesome.
have to do this or you need to do this. And that was the same thing my grandfather did. And I think the successful ones that you're not pushing it on them. It's just they grew up doing this and they don't know any better. So
Yeah, it's just a
it's
way of
cool.
life.
You'll have fun with it. So, like, let's talk about how you do a lot of things in the outdoor industry, firearms industry. What got you into this in the first place?
Into it all started like I didn't grow up hunting, shooting, anything like that. Grew up in a rural part of Canada, but never really exposed to guns, hunting. Around college,
Hmm.
I started to get interested in it, or, all throughout high school, I was just interested in the self-sufficiency aspect, but in college, really, really got the push, got my license, got into it really quick. And then our government started to become super anti-legal firearms. So that's what really got me into the advocacy side. That's what got me into social media because I thought, "Oh, well, like we need more of a voice here. We need somebody to educate others as to what's happening, educate the government, whatever the case may be, the general public." So that's what got me into the social media aspect. And then CSAAA, which is Canada's firearm and hunting industry organization, it would be NSSF in the States.
Okay.
They were hiring a managing director, and I interviewed with them and got the job and started with them. Oh, I think it was 2020, 2021. I've learned so much since, and I feel like I've been able to do a lot more work, kind of like hands-on with the government against a lot of the regulations that are just impacting my way of life.
When you and so what and I get it, so
Yeah.
like what I do also is I work for a nonprofit that is in the dementia Alzheimer's space.
Okay.
And so when you feel really passionate about what you do, it's super easy at that point. So I
Yeah.
mean, I could see where, what you just said from a self-sufficiency standpoint. Look, as long as you don't harm people or maybe drive with cocaine, I don't necessarily care really what you do, right? Don't
Yeah,
hurt
yeah,
people.
yeah.
And but leave me alone, right?
Live
The
your
guns that are
life.
over in that safe over here, yeah, the guns over there in that safe have not harmed anything but a deer, a turkey, maybe a few ducks along the way. That's how that goes. So I get it. I 100% get it. Out of all the things that you're doing right now, what's your favorite?
All of the different projects, I think it
Yeah,
would be,
I mean, you got so many things.
I know. I think it would be just I want to say like Why We Hunt platform or the social media platform in general, like myself, just because that's what I know best. And I think that I've encouraged, because I've had a lot of people like reach out and be like, hey, like I didn't have my license, didn't really know how to get started, but then I like followed your page and saw this and really got encouraged. So I just think it's a really, really good way to get more people into the community, educate people on, why we live the way we do, why we hunt, why we shoot, all of that. So just, yeah, that in general, sharing that is one of the favorite things I do. The why we hunt, the recipes, just
Right.
sharing my outdoor life in general.
Do you find, I guess there's a couple ways you could go about this. I mean, obviously you're focusing on advocacy with your day job, okay?
Yes.
And then with the other two platforms that you're working on, you're getting to show people how living this lifestyle is a good thing.
Yeah.
You shoot that deer, you've got meat in the freezer. You find these mushrooms. Like you said, you're self-sufficient. Are you are you finding you're reaching more people through that then kind of convinces them that, hey, guns are not the big scary thing that we are being told they are? Or like, how does it work for you convincing people otherwise?
I think a little bit. I think the more the platform grows, the more it will convince the general public. But it's also showed a lot of people that are in the hunting and firearms community how to
Mm,
educate their friends and family that might be against hunting, might be against shooting, and how to kind of, I guess, just be a good face for the community, sort of. Uh, because I mean, I've received a lot of super unpleasant comments and messages about hunting just from people that are anti-hunting. And I just sort of share that and share, how I respond with lighthearted education. And it just gives other people a tool to educate people that, give them hate on their posts. And yeah, there are some people that just weren't exposed to guns and hunting, and they learned a lot more about what regulations we even have to follow in Canada because they're so strict.
so, like, and I'm sure this question will probably be a Captain Obvious one. Down in the States, and I guess you could even say both sides are guilty of doing this, but like, not all the times is the entire truth told about anything from what this gun is, what it does. I mean, they constantly misrepresent ARs.
Yeah.
Do you have to combat like politicians or lawmakers who are not telling the entire story behind what this is?
That is like 90% of my day job. Um, I don't know if you're super familiar with the prohibitions we're dealing with in Canada right now.
Little bits and pieces, right? I see
Yeah,
them, but not as familiar, right?
they call it the assault style weapons firearms prohibition. So it's a style, so it can be anything. I've got a turkey shotgun that I used for turkey hunting. That's prohibited because it's magazine fed. There's like bolt action Weatherby rifles on that list. There's over 2,000 different makes and models of guns that are prohibited right now. And I have a lot of people in the general public thinking that these are, which I mean, doesn't mean they should be prohibited regardless, but people think they're like fully
Mhm.
automatic, as the government calls them, weapons of war. So a
Right.
lot of it is that like we're battling the government, but we're also battling the general public that's like coming at us in a way they're like, why are you guys fighting these prohibitions? Like, do you really want people to have machine guns on the streets? And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like,
Mhm.
let's just back up there.
Right. So again, I would say very similar to some of the half truths, or even
Yeah.
you
Like
know changing. Right. Right.
blatant deception.
I saw blatant deception. My favorite is when you see like a politician stand up in some arena and they're either holding the weapon wrong, or there was one
Mm,
that had a revolver up there and was claiming that the revolver was going to shoot, I don't know, 1,500 rounds a second. I'm like, that's a revolver with 5
God
rounds to it. So,
bless their hearts.
no. Yeah, I know. They try so hard, don't they? I mean, they absolutely do.
We We did have a politician here, which has become a meme in Canada. She said that she would hunt moose with her 22 gauge rifle. Not
Okay.
sure what that is, but she does. So we should listen to her.
To your phrase, to your phrase, God bless her. I hope it works well for her, that 22 gauge rifle. All right. Um, so a couple of things here, just kind of not necessarily to turn the conversation on, but like
No.
you do a good job of taking your hunting, fishing, foraging adventures, and you're constantly posting the food that you make, you know. So is the motivation behind creating that content, Jen, to help shine more of a light on this isn't bad, or is this just part of like your personal likes of being self-sufficient?
A lot of it to when it's first started was to show people that we actually do eat the animals we harvest because it is
Okay.
crazy how many people I talk to that are shocked that we eat goose, we eat deer, we actually eat the
Hmm.
animals that we're harvesting. And I think it makes
Hmm.
them, accept it a little bit more because they're like, oh, so you're not just, shooting them for fun and letting them rot. Like you're actually doing something with it.
Right.
And I've
Right.
gone hunting with people that don't use as much of the animal as they could be because they, don't know how to cook the thighs or they are
Hmm.
intimidated by things like heart and liver. So it's a good way to show non-hunters that we actually use these items, and it's a good way to show hunters
Right.
like these are all the great things you can do with these items.
And I think that's such a good point. I mean, so for so many years, and honestly, it was how I was taught. We'd go shoot a turkey, we'd breast it out, and the rest went to the ditch. And you can do some pretty neat things with those thighs. And
Yeah.
so matter of fact, like I geek out over, you make barbecue chicken pizza. Well, I did the same thing with turkey. And it's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things in the entire world. It's my comfort food is what it comes down to. I mean, I think that I blew some minds at work the other day because we were sitting there talking about, I don't know, how expensive beef was or whatnot. So I grew up on a farm, and I think I just turned 50. I have bought meat in a store one time in my life. When I first moved up here, everything comes from the beef comes from the farm, or the fish, the deer, the turkey, the ducks. I mean,
I love it.
that's what I know. And you should have seen the looks on their faces. I'm like, grocery bills are still high, but they ain't as high as they could be because, we've got
Yeah.
that freezer and two in the garage, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's awesome that you go that. You like geese. I feel like you like geese. What's your favorite animal to hunt?
Favorite animal to hunt is turkey. We just
Is
have
turkey.
so
Then
many geese here.
you and I we're gonna be fast friends because I will lose a lot of sleep, alienate a lot of people, and spend a lot of money chasing turkeys.
Yeah.
So we're good. You and I are good.
So much time and money for just like one bird.
Hmm. Hmm.
But they're
Now,
fun, they're exciting.
now, do you have a fall season for them?
Yes,
You do. Okay.
we
So
do.
my
I missed
grandpa,
this season, but we do have a fall season.
you do. So my grandpa wanted me to go this fall. I'm like, I'm not going in the fall. He goes, why? And I said, because I need them screaming at me in the spring. That's what I like. I don't just want them walking by. I want them mad.
Crazy.
That's what I want. That's me right there. So I'm a little weird in that aspect,
A lot of
but
people
no,
I know skip the fall
I love it.
season because, yeah, spring is
Yeah,
just where it's at.
it's where it's at. It's my jam if you want to
They're
go that route.
nuts, their
So
heads are
that's
changing
cool.
colors, they're gobbling like crazy. Yeah.
Hmm. Which surprised me. I did not. So when we messaged at one point when I think it was you were turkey hunting, I didn't know there were turkeys that far north. I thought that
Oh,
around
yeah, I think I
Minnesota
remember
and
that.
yeah, yeah. So you have a pretty good population up there then, huh?
Yeah, we have a lot.
Those must be some really tough birds because I can imagine your winters were pretty harsh from
Yeah,
where.
I really don't know how a lot of the younger ones survive the winters, to be honest. Because when I'm out deer hunting, I see like they're not super small, but they're small enough. Like it's going to be hard for them to
Right,
get out of that snow.
right. Now, so you like turkey hunting. Let's go back to your cooking and what's your favorite protein to cook with? And if you were going to pick something,
I'd say venison
is it
still.
venison?
Yeah, like turkey's great. Maybe I just do more with venison.
Right. Now, what else do you have? Because you've got elk and moose up there too, correct?
We've got bear, turkey, goose, tons of ducks.
Right.
That's about it where I am, to be honest. Yeah, lots of
And
moves
so
further
then
east.
do you get to, so down here, I can go buy a deer tag and just go hunt, right?
Okay.
Are you restricted in any way as far as what you can hunt? Do you have to do draws up there? How does it work when it comes to what you can and can't?
Our laws are super complicated in the sense that I don't know if it's like this in the States, but like each province, which would be a state, is grouped into all of these like tiny little zones, and each zone has their own specific laws. So those laws can be like vastly different from an hour from here.
Wow.
So yeah, it's crazy. So we have to do a draw for doe. We can just buy a buck tag, online or whatever. In order to be able to buy a tag, you do have to take and pass a hunting course. So it's like a 1-day course that you have to go through to be able to get your hunting license. And then of course we've got the 2-day firearms license and the RCMP background check and all of that stuff to be able to get the
Mhm.
gun license for it. But yeah, you just buy a doe buck tag, apply for a doe tag draw, and then depending on where you are, you can get a secondary tag if you fill yours. And there's, of course, restrictions on like what kind of firearms you can use. So an hour
Wow.
from me, they can use rifle, but where I am specifically, I'm only allowed to use shotgun and bow.
So, like, I mean, with all these rules and regulations, I mean, are you starting to see, I guess what I'm trying to ask, are you starting to see people get away from this type of lifestyle? They're just like, it's just too much?
Percent, yeah. And yeah, there's just so much red tape now. I started to see it a lot whenever I was at the gun range. There were a lot of people
Mhm.
that refused to get their, so we have 2 licenses here in Canada for guns, for firearms. Well, 3, but
Mhm.
2 real ones, non-restricted. You can buy like rifles, shot or most rifles, guns, and then there's restricted for handguns, which we're no longer allowed to buy and sell, and the modern sporting rifles. And a lot of people said like they're not going to get their restricted license because if you do, then you're subjected to a police background check every single day, and people didn't like that. So yeah, stuff like that. People were like, "No, I'm not going to bother." And then the hunting regulations. A lot of people that I talk to, they're just like, "I don't know. Like, there's so many rules, and I don't understand them, and I don't know. Like each season is different. Each amount you're allowed to harvest is different for each Like
Mhm.
people are just confused by it. It's not super straightforward, so it definitely discourages people from joining the community."
So how do people, you've got your bigger cities and then you have the more way out stuff. I mean, and I'm not suggesting or insinuating that people do things and they don't follow laws or whatnot, but I mean, how are the big areas making sure that the folks way over here are doing what they want? Or is it just kind of a, hey, don't do these things, but that way back in the sticks, they're gonna go shoot that doe or whatever the case. I mean, how do they police that stuff?
We do have like the Ministry of Natural Resources, like MNR. They'll go out
Okay.
and they'll check, make sure they'll stop if they see a truck parked at a field, they'll assume you're hunting, and they'll stop and check to make
Right.
sure, you've got the right firearm, that you've got the right licensing, you've got the right ammunition. They'll stop
Mm-hmm.
if you're wearing orange and stuff, because here we have to wear a lot of orange whenever we hunt. If they see someone wearing orange, they'll
Sure.
sometimes stop the truck and see, you got a doe in the back of that truck, you have a doe tag. So I think they do monitor it pretty good. But
Pretty
other than
good.
that, like, it's one of those things, like, yeah, if you don't get caught, you don't get caught. So I'm
I
sure
got
it
you.
happens more than we know.
So, I mean, talking with you for 6 seconds, we know you're going to lean more to the conservative side of life, which is fine. But you're conservative, you're self sufficient. That's something you don't see a ton of these days. I don't see moms and dads raising their kids to be self sufficient. Actually, I saw something today about. Actually, I think you posted it about. Can't you just buy your meat in the grocery store like everybody else? And it's
Yeah.
like, do you realize where that comes from? So, you know, I think you've already established this, but what is your main goal? What's the mission behind your work? Is it truly to educate these individuals to understand that being self-sufficient is actually a good thing?
Yeah, like, definitely to educate, give people kind of the tools to do it themselves, and just encourage the younger generation to get into it because, like, we're seeing this way of life die off here as the people that
Mhm.
are in this way of life are literally dying off. I mean, we're not seeing as many new people get into it as we need to.
right? So is it the younger crowd, that younger generation, and for me that could mean a lot of things, but whatever voting age is to say early 30s,
Yeah.
are they kind of the ones that are somewhat complicit with why these regulations are contempt? Because they're voting too, right? I mean, so if they don't understand, they're going to go for the shiny thing over here versus tradition, what a country was
Yeah.
built on.
It honestly seems like the older generation that's a little bit more complicit because they're just like, "Well, it doesn't affect me because 'cause I've already got the guns that I've got, and I don't go out and sports shoot and do IPSC, and I've already got my handgun, so I'm fine." The younger generation, they wanna get a handgun, they wanna go to the range and participate in
Hmm.
sports shooting, they wanna be able to go out and hunt without so much unnecessary red tape. So I feel like they're becoming more aware, more vocal about it. They're looking into it a lot
Hmm.
more. I do have, some of the older generation that's just like, stop fighting the gun prohibitions. Like, it doesn't matter. You guys don't need these kinds of guns. And it's that one. And it's the younger generation that's like, no,
Yeah.
this is absolutely insane. I don't want this as my future. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe the pendulum just sort of like swung so far, it's coming back. Like people were so reliant on grocery stores and didn't wanna know where their food came from. I wonder if it's starting to come back, or maybe it's just coming back in my little world. I don't know.
But you know what's fascinating about that is I see it in the States, I feel it's like the opposite. I feel like there's the old cranky ones like me who are like, we remember what our grandfathers and great grandfathers did to make sure that we had these rights or these abilities. And it's the younger kids that were given trophies for not doing anything that, have helped create some of the mess that was in the last few years. I see some of that shifting back, and a lot of it is education, right? A lot of it is helping to, like we said when we first started this talk, people don't always tell the truth. So can you
Yeah.
get out there and explain to them that this gun is not bad? Maybe it's the person who's buying it illegally that's doing bad things with it that is the problem. It's not me, it's not you in that bucket. But that's fascinating. Are you an influencer?
No.
No.
I
You're
don't
not?
think so. I don't think so. I mean, I feel like I would be a bad influence for anybody that was paying attention. No, I feel like I just sort of, like, share information. I don't know.
Let me rephrase it. So I'm not a dancing TikTok influencer,
Yeah,
but like we
maybe.
watch you're not that maybe, but like what I watch now that we've had this conversation, I will look at your social media differently because I'm going to
Yeah.
look at it as this is not just a lady who likes to hunt and fish and cook things. She's actually trying to educate people on
Yeah.
why this lifestyle. So I
Maybe the
think you
term
are
just has a
actually.
bad. Yeah, maybe I just thought the term had, like, a more negative.
I think it does. That was a trick
Yeah.
question, by the way. So shame on me. I'm sorry about that.
I saw that and I'm just
So we
like,
did talk.
"Well, technically,
Yeah.
yeah."
Yeah. So I know we already kind of touched on this too, but like, if you look into the future, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, whenever you start to introduce your daughter to the outdoors, have you thought about that? Like, have you thought about what you want to do to, uh, to get her to love it just as much as you?
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of plan on taking her with me as much as possible the second she's able to. So even this winter when I'm out ice fishing, if I've got the ice shack out, it's
Hmm.
warm, she can come out, that's fine.
Yeah.
She's got little, hearing protection and stuff like that, so if she wants
Uh-huh.
to come out hunting when she's a little bit older, just even if she's just watching and not doing anything, I think that's super important. Make
Right.
sure she's part of the processing process whenever we're butchering the animal, cooking the animal. And I mean, I just love being out in nature. So I think if I just take her with me and sort of teach her why it's something to be appreciated, then I think she'll
Hmm.
just grow up loving it. And if not, well, what can you do? But no, I
What can
think
you
if she's
do?
exposed to it and understands why it's such a beautiful thing, then she'll learn to love
Yeah.
it.
I think I honestly don't think you'll have much to worry about. That just reminds me though, and and you'll do this too. You may say you won't, but we've got tubs of items that we got from when the kids were little. And one item, my youngest had this, I guess it was a backpack. It had an alligator on it, like a stitched alligator. And when I would take him hunting with me, he would pack that thing full of race cars and
Oh
shovels and little
my
things,
God.
and he would just dig in, right? So I found that the other day. I mean, a little bit kind of reminiscing on that. I was like, I will hang on to that little
You have to.
satchel or whatever that thing is, because I mean, and sometimes we would see a deer, sometimes we wouldn't. Funniest thing I can remember is that we have the ability in St. Louis to hunt. It's called suburban bow hunting, and I don't know if they do that where you are, but as subdivisions are built, deer don't go anywhere. They're still there, and so you gotta hunt them. Some municipalities will let you do that. So literally, we park the car in this driveway, and we walk 60, 70 yards into a deer blind, and so we're basically in a subdivision is where we are
See,
inside of a little patch of woods. I think Justin was maybe 7, 8, maybe not even that old. And he led me back to the car. He had his flashlight out and he guided me back to the car, that whole 60 yards and
oh
he
my
thought that was
God.
pretty cool, right?
That's
So
amazing.
get ready. Get ready. It's going to be awesome. And I think it only gets better. So you'll love it.
Yeah, I'm excited for sure.
You'll
It's
love
like a
it.
little best friend to share things with.
It's a little best friend. So, Jen, how do people find your content? Tell us where we're going.
You can find me on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, which is now X.
All right.
whywehunt.ca is kind of the easiest way to find me. You go to whywehunt.ca. I've got all my stuff there, but I'm just Jenn McDonald across all of the platforms, except for Facebook, where I'm Jen Gadbois, because I post too much gun stuff and Facebook won't let me change my name because of all the gun picture violations.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. I mean, you look trustworthy. I think you're fine. All right. So we're
I
good.
think I'll be all right, but Facebook doesn't think so.
I think you'll be fine. Listen, I know you got a little one back there and stuff to do. Good luck with the deer hunting. I'm heading out this weekend too.
Oh, good luck.
Thank you so much for your time tonight. I know you're busy, so I appreciate it.
Thank you. I had a really, really good time. Can't wait.
All right. Boy, I don't know if we're getting any better at this podcasting thing or not, but that was a fun conversation for a lot of reasons. I admire Jen for what she is doing, how she's positioning her own lifestyle to shed light on the fact that guns aren't scary and that being self-sufficient, well, it's a pretty darn good thing. Well, here we are. We're in November and our Black Friday specials are live. So if you're interested, you can hop over to the website and use code BF40 to get 40% off our DIY workouts, 1 month of remote coaching, and I believe just about all of our apparel and gear. Spend 50 bucks or more and you're going to get free shipping. Now, one more quick plug here. A friend of mine called me the other day and he was looking for, a multivitamin. And the first thing I asked him was, what are you taking and why? What are the reasons that you're going to do what you're doing? And what it came down to was I was able to recommend Wilderness Athletes the good stuff, which is their multivitamin, omega-3 fish oil, and probiotic. One packet, super easy. He ordered it and then said, "Hey, what's this hydrate and recover?" And I said, "Well, Dave, maybe my favorite product of all time. If I'm going to recommend two products from that line, it's going to be the good stuff and it's going to be your hydrate and recover. He's going to enjoy it. It's going to work wonders for him, and I think it will for you also. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this month. Um, Thanksgiving, right? We're right smack in the middle of the rut. So many things to be thankful for. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. We're thankful for you, that you listen to the show, that you allow us to be a part of your adventures and fitness journey. And we feel very blessed. So, from all of us here at Fit to Hunt, have a great Thanksgiving. We appreciate you. And as always, you know the deal. You stay fit to hunt.